Let's watch this video, and then on the other side we'll have Ellen Komp of NORML, California on.
Tonight, medical marijuana advocates are speaking out against a California Supreme Court decision that cities can ban pot shops. In its ruling, the court said the bans are legal. As KCRA3's Mallory Hoff reports, the decision could have a wide-reaching impact.
This medicine has been demonized.
Sacramento Dr. David Allen, who does medical cannabis evaluations, disagrees with the decision. He says it sends an unclear message.
The people of California have spoken. Their will is cannabis is a medicine. And this ruling allows local governments to say, no, that's not medicine, and we can regulate you out of business.
Businesses like Cannacare, a medicinal marijuana dispensary in the city of Sacramento, were hoping for a different ruling.
We wanted to, of course, have a decision that we're going to allow patients to have safe access in every single city that they live.
Chris McKenzie is with the League of California Cities. He says 96 cities in the state have told his group they oppose dispensaries.
We have many cities that are very small. Some of them are completely residential in character. They don't even have commercial districts. They've decided they don't want that kind of activity.
That's tough to hear for this medicinal marijuana user who did not want us to reveal his identity. He's a teacher who suffers from severe arthritis. He says he's never used medicinal marijuana before class.
And I caught myself praying to God, just take me. I was in that much pain, and then I realized how stupid I was being. If I was praying for my life to end, why not give it a shot? And I did.
A life-altering choice, he says, one that local dispensaries hope to continue to provide.
I can't just close my doors and say, I'm sorry, you have to die today.
In Sacramento, Mallory Hoff,
KCRA3. That's just me token.
Yeah, I heard your show before where you were doing that.
Yeah, Marius, the video's over. Are we back? Yeah, we're back. Okay. I can see the YouTube thing come up on the video, so I know that it's over there. All right, and our mics are working, I'm hoping. You can hear us? Okay, so we are back, and on the telephone I have Ellen Komp, Deputy Director of NORML, California. Ellen, you there?
Yes, I am.
Fantastic. Good to have you back on the show. It's been a while.
Yes, thanks. Good to be back.
Well, Ellen, right now in California, there's big news happening, and on the front page of Cannabis Culture, we've just published your article about the California Supreme Court basically ruling that cities in California have the right to ban medical marijuana dispensaries themselves outright. This has been going through courts for a while. Can you tell us about what's happening down there?
Yes, well, we were pretty much expecting this ruling to go the way that it did. The courts and the legislature have been siding with local jurisdictions and their right to regulate or ban. It was significant, that the court said that cities and counties don't have to ban, that they in some way establish the legitimacy of dispensaries. But it said that they could ban them, that there might be safety issues. Some of the language is, while several California cities and counties allow medical marijuana facilities, it may not be reasonable to expect every community to do so, they wrote. While some counties and cities might consider themselves well-suited to accommodating medical marijuana dispensaries, industries in other communities might lead to the reasonable decision that such facilities would present unacceptable local risks and burdens. So we think that it's pretty much going to be status quo, that the places that don't want dispensaries have already enacted bans, and the ones that are going to allow them, in the more liberal parts of the state, are going to continue to allow them and reap the tax benefits, etc.
Right, now there are some...
There has been fallout. Pardon me?
Well, that's okay. You continue.
There has been some fallout. We heard that the California sheriffs have basically been given the go-ahead from the California Attorney General, Kamala Harris, to go after any unlicensed collectives in their counties. And there's been some news reports from San Bernardino County that they've already been visiting collectives, but had a couple of reports from others. And the Inland Empire Health and Wellness, the collective in Riverside that brought the suit, has announced that they are closing their doors.
Right.
So we'll see what continues from here. What everyone's saying is, well, we need better regulation at the state level. We've been saying that for years, and a lot of other people too. The court says so. So there's two bills in the state legislature now, AB 473 by Tom Amiano and SB 439 by Steinberg in the Senate, that are looking to regulate it better in California. Those bills still have a lot of drafting ahead of them, I think,
and
there's
when you
still
say
a lot of talk about how exactly to regulate the supply in a situation where you can't exactly be registering gardens because, as we found out in Mendocino County, the federal government wants that information.
That's right. Now, Ellen, you mentioned
so
these two bills.
They didn't get it, but they wanted it.
Right. Ellen, you mentioned these two bills. Can you go into a little bit more depth on what those bills actually propose?
Well, AB 473 would, at this point, put regulation under the auspices of the ABC, the Alcohol Beverage Control Board in California. That's a cost-cutting move that would save setting up an agency of its own. And there's been some resistance to that because, of course, it's medical marijuana, and I think it's modeled on Washington's bill that just passed, allowing for recreational use and putting it under the alcohol control up there. But this is medical, and it's a little bit different. There's some things that are the same. There has to be age restrictions and that sort of thing. So again, that still needs work, as does, I think, SB 439. Steinberg, this was originally introduced by Mark Leno, who had a similar bill last year. It just sort of legitimizes sales. So we're starting to have hearings on those. They've gone through the public safety. They're going to be going to appropriations, where there'll be talk about some of the economic aspects of it. And they're both still in the early stages. And we'll see if we get them this year or not.
Now, Ellen, about the actual court decision, there are a few places in California that have already tried to ban, and that was part of where this court decision came from. Is it a significant number of places that have put these bans on? Is this really something to worry about? I know you said that a lot of the counties won't be banning, but do we know how much versus how much kind of thing, percentage-wise?
Well, actually, there are a lot of communities that have banned them. There are 58 counties and I think 473 cities in California, and there have been about 200 localities that have banned them.
Wow.
They're mostly in the smaller areas, but it's a significant number. And concurrent with this is coming in, we're seeing more and more restrictions on medical marijuana cultivation as well. Right. So it's a double whammy for patients, and we're hearing from a lot of them. What's happening, I expected the federal level of repression, but I didn't expect so much the local repression to be coming in after we passed the state law. But because locals are entitled to zone what happens in their areas, they're coming in now and zoning. And if they get even sometimes a single complaint by a neighbor about a medical marijuana garden, they don't like the smell of it, they're afraid kids are going to see it, they think it's a public safety issue, they want to outlaw it. And there's been, they can't outlaw it altogether because it is allowed by state law, but they're limiting it so severely. They're not allowing it in some cases outdoors at all, or even sometimes they won't even allow it in a residence, or it has to be in a residence and it can't be in some kind of ancillary building, or they're requiring ancillary buildings, and they're requiring them to be built in code and solid walls and security systems and filtration systems and fencing and setbacks and all kinds of stuff that are making it really a hardship for a lot of patients. And so there's been another case that came down in Trinity County where a breast cancer patient, is saying this was a hardship for her, and the court ruled that because she hadn't availed herself of administrative remedies, meaning she needed to apply for a variance to the zoning code, which all cities and counties have a process for, that she didn't have standing. So I'm actually talking to quite a few different patients in different counties who are considering applying for just such a variance to see what happens. Either they'll get a variance or they won't, and then they could have cause for further action against their locality.
Right. Now, I guess in terms of fighting this stuff, then it's got to be done on a local level. So in California, I guess part of the message here is, you know, aim your political activities at local governments now.
Yes, there's some of that, but on the other hand, there's also a new push to get something happening at the federal level. Americans for Safe Access, for example, has been working hard on that. There's a new bill by Dana Rohrabacher of California in the Congress, another states' rights bill. Because, you know, Jeremiah, we're not going to get our rights on so many levels until we get something changed at the federal level. For example, in Colorado, which, you know, just legalized recreational use last November, an appellate court has already ruled that employers can still fire their employees who have positive drug tests in Colorado, even though it's legal now, because of federal workplace laws. And this is also true in California for medical marijuana patients. It doesn't protect you against your employer firing you. A lot of people don't know that, and I hear from people all the time about it. So the feds are continuing to act in California. They've just sent a new spate of threatening letters to landlords in Northern California, and they've actually filed for forfeiture against the property owner of the Berkeley Patients Group, the new property owner. They actually moved last year because their old landlord got one of these letters, and now they're actually trying to take the property away from this elderly woman who owns the new property that they've spent a lot of money fixing up and getting ready for it.
Wow.
So, yeah, we're going to have to continue to fight on all levels. Actually, there's a protest tomorrow in Berkeley, if anyone's listening from the area, against Attorney General Holder is coming to Berkeley Law School to give the commencement address. And so we're going to go nicely dressed and hand out flyers, recruitment flyers, mock ones for the Department of Justice that Americans for Safe Access has prepared. We can't let him come to Berkeley without knowing that there's resistance to his policy. So we'll be out there at 8:45 tomorrow morning at the Greek Theater in Berkeley if anyone in the sound of my voice wants to come and join us.
Well, now, Ellen, if people want to find out more online about this stuff and what's happening there in California, I guess California NORML has a website they can check out, right?
We certainly do. We're CA NORML, and that's NORML.org. And we have an email sign-up list. We're on Twitter and Facebook, and you can find out there all the latest on what's happening on these and too many other issues.
Excellent. And people can check out your latest article on the front page of Cannabis Culture about this particular issue. Well, I wish you guys the best of luck down there. I know it's seems, you know, this is a tough situation with cities, but I think that, I mean, it reminds me a lot of what happened during alcohol prohibition, where there were sort of fights in certain counties to keep things dry, and then eventually everything sort of rolled over because the cultural aspects sort of won over, I think, everywhere. So it's just a matter of time. I think.
Yeah, that's an apt analogy. It's been called, you know, dry and wet counties, and I think you're right. I think that's the way it's going to go. It's going to be a long haul.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Ellen, thank you so much for coming on the show today. We'll bring you back again sometime very soon. And also, do you want to drop any other website addresses of your own stuff?
Oh, well, you can check me out at tokenwoman.blogspot.com or veryimportantpotheads.com for some of my more entertaining writing, I guess.
Two very fantastic websites. Again, Ellen Komp, Deputy Director of California NORML, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you, Jeremiah.